Hey, my name is Matt Storr and I repair saxophones for a living, and over the past several months I've been learning how to make saxophone pads. Phil Noy in Melbourne, Australia is the one who's been teaching me, and one of the things that we discovered together, because most of it came directly from him, but one of the things that we discovered together was a single step pad treatment that is airtight, watertight, non-stick, and seems to work on pretty much anything. It's also very cheap and easy to do. The key components are a 6-to-1 mix of an Angelus leather acrylic paint and the Angelus duller. Now this is basically just a matte additive. The matte additive is what makes it non-stick. The acrylic leather paint is what makes it airtight and watertight. And you can use any color. Angelus has lots of different colors, and you can mix different Angelus colors together. Now neutral is clear. This chocolate is what I've been using on the pads I've made. Here's one that I did with the clear. You can still sort of see like the leather grain a bit. I like this a lot. Here is the chocolate, which is opaque. I also like this a lot, and they seem to operate basically the same. Here is an untreated but completed saxophone pad that I made. This is not airtight or watertight. This is kangaroo skin. One of the things I've learned making saxophone pads is that none of this skin is actually airtight or watertight. It's all porous to some degree. It's the treatment that actually makes the difference. Now, I'll show you the pads I have been using for a long time and will continue to use, but supply issues and pricing has made me want to learn to make my own pads. These are Pizzoni pads. This is something I was messing with. So this is the underlying leather here. You can sort of see the pores are a little bit more visible in this one. This is like where I was taking like some paint remover to it, some goof off. And you can see here's the leather and there's the treatment, right? So they're using a similar color treatment to the leather and it's being painted on. I originally thought that leather treatments on pads were something like where like the leather was like soaked in it, but I think it's just applied on the top. And this stuff, when it's done, looks a lot like pads that you might buy. So I have a feeling this is pretty close to an actual commercial leather treatment, but I don't know for sure. But I've had people try it out on, pre-made pads and it works fine. And I've been using it on the pads I've made and it works great. Like I said, it is airtight and watertight, like 100%, and it's also non-stick. And you can still apply, like you've got other treatments you like to do. Like I like to do a lacquer overspray. I've been doing that just because I'm habituated to it. This doesn't seem to need it. I mean, it's completely non-stick. It's completely watertight. But just because I'm habituated to that, I've been a little bit slow to give that up. So I've still been putting a lacquer overspray over these and it's been working just fine. So what you want to do is a 6-to-1. So you can mix the paints together to get whatever color you want, or you can just use like the stock paints, right? 6 parts paint to 1 part duller, which is way more than they recommend, but I experimented up and down and this seems to be a pretty good mix of non-stick, but also being not too cloudy. Now, if you take, like, if you have a dark colored pad, it's not like super evident on this, but if you were to take like a black pad and do the neutral with the duller, it will end up being like a little bit kind of cloudy looking. It's not the end of the world, but it doesn't look great. So you might want to do like a more opaque paint or something like that, where the cloudiness aspect, like the matte part, sort of blends in a little more. So what you do is you shake this up because the matte will kind of like settle, and you mix it 6-to-1. And I did that with just a pipette and a little scale to get 6 parts paint to 1 part matte additive, and then to apply it. So this is already mixed, right? 6-to-1 chocolate. Shake it up. To apply it, it's really easy. And you can, if you're making pads, you can do this to like the entire leather sheet, or you can just do it to individual pads. And like I said, I've had people test this out on pre-made pads. I haven't done that yet, so I'm not sure. But this seems like something that probably works. Let me know in the comments if you give it a try. Let me know what you think. So let's see, I can do this on camera. I usually take like a blorp of it, and then I kind of rub it in. Like you don't just want to apply it to the top, you actually kind of want to rub it in to the pores. I probably should have had a glove on my other hand too. But this stuff cleans off really easy. It kind of like almost peels off like Elmer's glue. So that first coat basically kind of like disappears in there. And I think you can leave it there, but I like to do, right, as it sort of like dries, do a second coat. If you put too much, it might like streak a little bit, but you kind of keep rubbing. As long as you do it quick, so it's not like sitting on top of the old one, it kind of gets down in there. And that'll dry in a few minutes, but I like to leave it for at least a couple hours before I install it into a pad. So I'll go ahead and do another one. But like I said, this actually is completely watertight and airtight. You can test the leather beforehand and afterhand, just like beforehand and afterwards, just by taking like I use like a plastic straw, not like a cheap one like from a McDonald's or something, but like the ones that come with like drink containers that you buy. I'll actually show you in a sec. We can actually do a really quick test to show you that it's airtight. And it's a pretty easy test to see like whether a pad is airtight with that. Watertight, of course, you can just like put water on it and let it sit and see what happens. So I'm not going to do all 4 of these that need treated, these last 2 here in front of you, but I will go ahead and let's see, I'm going to pause it for a second. All right, so hopefully I'm in frame. So just like a straw like this, right? We'll take one of these pads that I have not treated yet and we can put it on here and you'll see, like I can't even get it to like stick long enough to put my tongue on it. But if I take a pad that I've treated, airtight, and then this is the one that's just so this was the one that was neutral with the duller. This is chocolate with the duller. All right, so here's some of the pads after it's had a chance to dry for a little while, maybe an hour or so. You see the chocolate ends up a little darker, but more even. And then the transparent / neutral, it's kind of hard to see, like, but it's sort of like you can see the grain of it through the leather. It's a little easier to see. Let's see if I turn this light off. Yeah, it's a little more like it looks in real life. Camera's kind of struggling with low light, but there's the neutral and duller, and here's the chocolate and duller. And they both seem to end up the same way as far as the way they seat and feel and all that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and do a time lapse of some water on some of these pads so you can see that they are waterproof, and then we'll close out. Okie dokie, time lapse over. So we can see, water just kind of beads right off it, right? Wipes right off. No problem. So that was the transparent, or the neutral plus duller, and this is the chocolate plus duller. There we go.